And thank you for your patience and all of you who tuned in to us here this afternoon and morning to those of you who are in the morning across the waters. And we are going to begin and proceed actually with our welcoming statement. And the welcoming statement, Auntie Essie, if you will put yourself in readiness to follow immediately after the welcoming statement, which shall be done by Osa Baremba, Kwesi Atta II, Uwahen, as well as the chairperson of our local organizing committee for the PANAFEST Foundation. We want to welcome our Nana to give us an opening statement. And right immediately following after his opening statement, we're going to have a word from our chairperson, Professor S.E. Sutherland Adi. Thank you very much for your patience, and we hope to have a smooth ride from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you find yourself in the world. Today is a remarkable day for us to launch PANAFEST 2021. Normally, this wouldn't have happened, but for events that are going around the world, that is the pandemic, we are doing this virtual launch. The world is confronted with this virus epidemic, and also what is going on throughout the world with the black man. PANAFEST.
Okay. I got you. Thank you.
It's an African movement working to bring all Africans back home through our culture and what we do as Africans to set us apart from the whole world. Next year, we are celebrating yet another PANAFEST. And this couldn't have come at this time, very important, just because the African is being marginalized, and in the minds of other people, they don't even belong. That is why we are calling on all Africans, wherever they may find themselves, to be part of next year's PANAFEST celebration. Let us come together and make a statement to the whole world that African lives matter. On this note, I welcome every African, wherever you are, to be part of next year's celebration. Come join hands with your fellow Africans. Come to the motherland. Come and express your feelings, and let us tell the whole world that Africans matter. And for that matter, the black man matter. So in these few words, I welcome every person who has tuned to this program to be part of it. Stay with us to the end of the program. And I know, as it says somewhere, after this program, you will go back home satisfied, and your life will never be the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Nana. So now that we have been welcomed appropriately, we are going to call upon our chairperson for the PANAFEST Foundation, none other than Professor S.E. Sutherland Adi. Auntie S.E.?
Yes, hello. Thank you very much, Rabbi. And let me begin by apologizing profusely for the delay and thanking you for sticking with it. We really hope that we will be able to master the techniques and do better, because the whole festival is going to actually, in part, be virtual. Your Excellency, Deputy Chairman of the African Union Commission, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, representative of the Honorable General Regional Minister, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Nananum, members of the International Board of Trustees of PANAFEST Foundation, representatives of the media, distinguished inviters, guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the board and members of the Local Planning Committee, let me begin by expressing my profound gratitude to each and every one of you for making the extra effort to join us on this virtual launch of PANAFEST 2021. Last year, the African family came together in large numbers to participate in ceremonies, rites, performances, and conferences, which PANAFEST has become known for. Certainly, the context of the commemoration of the infamous milestone of the 400th anniversary of the documented arrival of Africans in the English colony of Virginia and the declaration of 2019 as the year of return provided a poignant focus for the festival. If you will recall, the theme was Beyond the Return, Reaching Across Continents into the Future. Now, after due reflection on PANAFEST 2019, PANAFEST 2021 was planned to bring the African family together to review the dynamics of the return, or what we might call the Sankofa principle, and explore it as an impetus for the future. However, the shattering unpredictability of the global outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic has unearthed some chilling truths about the global African reality. These include the tragic threat to the African descended communities by the disease. It also includes stark economic conditions and social trauma created by sustained inequity, such as high incarceration, which are playing a role in demonstrating just how the pandemic has affected us. Furthermore, the erasure of people of color from the global narrative about influential interventions such as sacrifices of frontline medical staff in the United Kingdom is current and apparent. The familiar refrain of targeting Africa, asking why we don't have our experience of the virus seems to be less than others and so on, or in reviling some of the solutions that we have found. All these and demonstrate that we are experiencing the pandemic in our own way. These developments, I would say, are traceable to generational trauma and entrenched inequities resulting from centuries-long enslavement of Africans and its colonial aftermath. Then came the needless and brutal murder of George Floyd, which has unleashed a massive flood of demands for a stop to brutal institutional racism, among other injustices. It has led to an outpouring of silenced stories and an angry questioning of the story of colonization as built into monuments and narratives. In view of the unfolding situation and its very specific repercussions for the African family, PANAFEST 2021 is designed as a stimulating creative space for recollecting and sharing the multiple facets of the experience of Africans of the pandemic and of racist Western hegemony. Could somebody needs to turn off their mic, I think. Reclaiming our right to weave our own narrative, the festival will not stop at the profound tragedy of the experience, but will also celebrate the courage, resilience, and innovation demonstrated by our frontliners, scientists, health workers, inventors, artists, and community activists and carers. The grounds will be prepared for this crucial conversation of safeguarding our spiritual strength, our health and wealth, all of which have been breached in these uncharted waters. The barriers must be brought down, friends and brothers and sisters, to the debilitating lack of self-knowledge and the consciousness of the impact of these legacies, which are perpetuating the alienation and lack of empathy among members of the African family. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, PANAFEST 2021 is designed to establish a build-up starting in August 2020, which is expected to provide platforms for dialogue and expression in all forms of the arts, which speak to the raging interrogation of the state of African life in the global context. How did we get where we are? Why have we been so silent on the continent? More importantly, to paraphrase Chimamanda Adichie's famous statement, there is truly a danger in the single story. It is expected that activities at the festival will demonstrate beyond doubt that the African family needs to reassess and secure our own history, but also set ourselves up to be vigilant. There seems to have been an unveiling of the vulnerable underbelly of the African lived experience, one aspect of which is the extent to which Africans on the continent and those in the diaspora have become alienated. And this means that awkward and difficult questions must be addressed, and we must get to the bottom of how to achieve mutual understanding. Now, just a quick word on the format of the festival. PANAFEST is structured around experiences and platforms which are designed to constructively raise and examine important, if contentious, issues, foster healing processes, and also celebrate the strengths and resilience of African culture and achievement of Africans. Most importantly, the festival is to be seen as a home and a hub for creative Africans across the globe to showcase their work and interact with each other in a meaningful way, as this is often difficult to achieve otherwise. It is also an organic festival featuring community events which involve an immersion of all participants in the everyday and ceremonial life of our communities. So we offer the following rides and platforms. The Return Journey, which is a symbolic boat ride from Cape Coast slave dungeons to Elmina, where participants are met at the shore by traditional duty bearers of Edna. The Akwaba ceremony, organized under the auspices of the Edna Hin for diaspora participants. Reverential Night, which is a culminating feature of the festival involving evening procession through the center of Cape Coast, leading to a solemn tribute to the ancestors in the dungeons and the courtyard of Cape Coast Castle. Other events, principal events include the Grand Durbar and opening ceremony, which is a major immersion event that brings together representation of the traditional rulers of the land to share the ceremonial heritage with participants and with the entire African family. This Grand Durbar differs fundamentally from those we are used to in that it has a Pan-African tone to it. It features contributions of contingents of participants and performers as a foretaste of the festival events. Special focus events include the Pan-African Colloquium, which brings together public intellectuals, academics, and activists to thoroughly address selected issues of relevance under the theme of the festival. The theme is also adopted to ensure the participation of women and youth through special days dedicated to these groups whose voices require amplification. Distinguished friends, brothers and sisters, since PANAFEST 2017, an interfaith dialogue has been added to the platforms of the festival because there's an urgent need to look at the spirituality claimed by Africans and its role in the making or unmaking of the project of African liberation. Looking at entrepreneurship and business, there is also the Expo Bazaar, which has become a popular feature of the festival. This year, this feature will include stands from a sampling of districts in the central region, and very importantly, it will be extended through virtual wings. Key to the festival and will be performances from local guests scheduled for afternoons and evenings, and workshops for artists, as well as exhibitions. I should like to emphasize that these are core to the festival and not simply entertainment interludes, as some people tend to place us. And I mean, being part of that community, I want to be very emphatic on this. Honorable ministers, distinguished participants, the 2021 edition of PANAFEST will seek to respond to important imperatives which have been raised, such as building up participation by different communities of Ghanaian creatives and by the Ghanaian public in general. This will be done through a pre-festival build-up program and a special outreach to event managers, CSOs operating in the cultural arena, and individual artists. I would like to urge that when the call for participation is sent out, interesting artists and intellectuals should send in proposals or indications of interest. In addition to this, while strengthening existing rights and events, the festival will have a particular focus on the story of enslavement in northern Ghana, which is yet to be properly acknowledged and told. Every effort will be also made to send visiting acts to venues beyond Elmina and Cape Coast. We all have to adjust to a steep learning curve, as we have already observed, but we at the PANAFEST Foundation are geared up to see that the constraints imposed by COVID-19 pandemic as an opportunity to better deploy technology in innovative ways to break the barriers and rather intensify and diversify the experience of the festival. We ask you all to anticipate an imminent call for participation, and we look forward to an enthusiastic response. Let me close by thanking you all once again for being part of this launch. And we will have a formal vote of thanks at the end, but it is a great honor to have all the dignitaries who are here with us. And we all look forward to welcoming you to this great gathering that we anticipate in July of 2021. Hope to see all of you members of the African family there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor S.C. Sutherland Adi, Chairperson of the PANAFEST Foundation. Those of us in our various localities, I hope, Auntie Essie, you can hear our collective claps in spirit as well as in substance. I would like us now to move forward and to move on. We have a representative from the Edina Traditional Council, as was mentioned by our chairperson. Our main host cities for the PANAFEST Festival is Cape Coast and Elmina. And it is also proper that we hear from Nana Aduakwa V, representing the Edina Traditional Council. We're going to call Nana to our attention now for him to make his statement. And I would ask that the CEO of GTA, Mr. Kwesi Ajiman, would put himself in readiness to be able to follow Nana after Nana makes his statement. So, Nana, we are looking to you now to plug in and to make the statement in behalf of Edina Traditional Council. Welcome, Nana Akwaba. As we made mention, in each one of our transitions, it requires a technical switch up. So we will have to allot a few seconds for us to get the technical transmission from one speaker to another. So without being redundant, I would just ask that each time we invite a new speaker in, that we would have that patience for the technology to connect them in, that we can hear their message. Thank you very much. We know that each person's location will have an effect on our ability to transmit them. So while we're working out the connection between Nana Aduakwa, we're going to ask if Mr. Akwesi Ajiman is ready from GTA. We want to try to connect with you, Mr. Ajiman, so that we can also hear from you. We know the role that GTA played with the last year, 2019, PANAFEST and the year of return and the partnership that we continually have. So certainly a statement from the CEO of GTA is very significant on this launching program of PANAFEST 2021. So Mr. Ajiman, we're going to try to zero in on you right now so that we can hear from you.
All right, thank you very much, Rabbi.
Yes,
I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
All right, Nana Chair, Osaberima, Honorable Ministers of State, distinguished guests, I stand on the existing protocols to welcome all of us to this historic Republic Day launch of PANAFEST 2021. Before I continue, I want to thank everybody for availing himself, and also especially our media partners who are here with us here at GT observing today's event. May I respectfully ask that we all and then also those who are falling to the unfortunate COVID-19 pandemic.
No, that's not.
May the souls of the dearly departed rest in peace. Once again, we congratulate the PANAFEST Foundation and all the partners for putting together this virtual launch. In a few weeks' time, we'll be converging again at Cape Coast, Mina, and St. Manso for Emancipation 2020. That really will be the precursor to what we are starting now. Staff and the board of GTA, we want to assure you all that we will continue to support the PANAFEST Foundation on this journey and all its partners. This year has been quite a difficult year for all of us in the tourism industry as we battle COVID-19. But one thing that has come out is the resilience of the African spirit. And we believe moving from 2019 to 2020, there are lessons that we've learned that we can take into the program come 2021. And so we will be worthy partners, and we believe team and all the programs that have been put in place will really be a follow-up to what was a historic 2019 year of return. The Beyond the Return program continues, and I believe as we launch Beyond the Return pillars in a few weeks, it will also open up the discussions on how we can all unite as one big African family. Once again, thank you for having me, and let's enjoy the virtual launch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Ajiman. Always clear and on point. We appreciate all of that, as well as for the update concerning the upcoming Emancipation Day and the unveiling of the pillars for Beyond the Return. So thank you once again. and we applaud you once again. Can we have another round of applause from our family gathered here? Yes, as we are anticipating moving on, I know we still had a bad connection with Nana Aduakwa, our Edina Traditional Council representative, but we'll still be trying to connect him. As soon as we get a clear connection, we will bring him forward right in. We also know that we had a space for Mr. Akwesi Ababio, who also is very special, has a very special position with the diaspora as the director of the Diaspora Affairs at the Office of the President. And we are hoping that we can get a very clear reception of him so we can also get his statement, solidarity statement for this year's PANAFEST 2021. And we are looking to our technicians here to signal us that he is ready. And at the same token, we are expecting a statement from the country director of UNESCO, Mr. Diallo. We are going to ask that he also is in readiness so that our technicians can connect him and we can also hear from him. So as I make those announcements, that is only so that you will be ready as soon as the technicians can connect you so that we can try to run as smoothly as possible in spite of these birthing challenges that we're having with the new virtual conferencing. You know, when we are live with each other, it's very easy. Being masked is almost like being muffled. So we have multiple challenges that we're facing. And so I just take it with jest, as we should all, as we are exercising ourselves. It's only the exercise that can make us perfect. So the more we go through these exercises, hopefully we even perfect it even more. And since our chairperson said we should get used to it because we don't know how long this pandemic will be with us, so we're actually scheduling our anticipated PANAFEST. Although it's a year from now, we anticipate we still will have to be using this technology and these services. So the more we use them, the more we get better at using them. So as I'm talking, I'm looking for the signal. Can we zero in on Mr. Babio or Mr. Diallo so that we can hear from them?
Yeah, we don't have that.
So I understand that both of them are still, we're having challenges technically with them. So as we move on, we also have a representative from our youth creative spokesperson. No, excuse me. We also have a representative from our own Central Regional Minister, the Honorable Kwabena Duncan. And he's in the person of Mr. Bless Dake, who is here with his statement and ready. This one, we don't have to worry about the technical hookup because he's right here with us at the table. And so he's one of us here hosting this whole thing. So please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Bless Dake, speaking on behalf of the Honorable Regional Minister, Mr. Kwabena Duncan.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Pauline. All protocols duly observed. Let me first express my utmost appreciation to the Regional PANAFEST and Emancipation Day Committee and all the stakeholders of these two great events for the efforts made in organizing this meeting in the midst of the novel coronavirus pandemic. I wish to also express my heartfelt appreciation to the organizers for their vision to launch the 2021 celebration of this global festival to keep up the spirit of PANAFEST and Emancipation Day alive. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that PANAFEST and Emancipation Day celebrations are the two global festivals that unite people of African descent, and it is important for us all to work hard and together as a family to preserve these international festivals for generations yet unborn. Had it not been for these festivals, some of our diasporan brethren would never have stepped on the shores of Africa, and for that matter, Ghana and the Central region in particular. It is for this reason and other considerations that the Central Regional Coordinating Council is always prepared to provide a congenial atmosphere for the celebration of these two great events. I wish to emphasize here that 2019 PANAFEST and Emancipation Day celebrations which coincided with the year of return, was very successful and made a positive impact on our region and the country as a whole. The economic gains were enormous, and I believe we will do well to sustain these gains in the coming years. As we all are aware, PANAFEST and Emancipation Day dwells in the hearts of many Ghanaians, and indeed occupy an important space in Ghana's socio-cultural calendar. Because of the commitment of the country to the total liberation of the people of African descent and the need to build a resilient society in order to resist all forms of discrimination in the Committee of Nations. It is for this reason and other considerations that I deem the theme, securing the African family, our soul, our health, our wealth, very appropriate, taking into consideration the current trend of manhandling of Black people in the United States of America, which has attracted international condemnation, with some of the white people joining hands with the Blacks to protest against these injustices and racial discrimination against people of Black descent. Indeed, Ghana became the first African nation to join in the amazing celebration in 1992 to reaffirm her status as the gateway to the African homeland of diasporans. Ghana's claim to the position of gateway to the homeland of diasporans is neither accidental nor coincidental, but is rather grounded in the fact that it was a major exit point for many slaves on the coast of West Africa, especially Cape Coast and Elmina castles, during the period of the infamous trade that took place. Nana Chairman, this is the opportune time for PANAFEST Foundation to marshal all the forces at its disposal, to mobilize all the stakeholders to take full advantage of next year's occasion to boost our regional economy and effectively promote the region as being the hub of tourism in the country. I'd like to appeal to the local planning committee to give attention to both national and local publicity to whip up interest of the people to take part in the celebration in order to bring the euphoria back following the outbreak of COVID-19, which has whittled down the gains made in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to state here that it is time for PANAFEST Foundation to invest in business ventures both home and abroad to enable it to raise funds to promote its activities before, during, and after the festivals. Let's all join forces to make PANAFEST and Emancipation Festivals a strong vehicle of uniting the people of African descent across the globe. On this note, I wish to thank you all for your august presence at this virtual lunch and wish you all a fruitful meeting. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you also, Mr. Bless Dake, on behalf of the Honorable Regional Minister, Mr. Kwame Duncan. I think those words were very well spoken and full of substance, and I think they are also worth another round of applause to say thank you. As we can see, this is a very PANAFEST and Emancipation Day have become very, very popular international festival joined together. It's a national asset and gem, but being housed here mainly in the central region is very, very special to those of us in the central region. So again, those words are very well accepted. I mean, very well, delivered. And we thank you very much and thank the regional minister very much for adding his voice to this launch here today. And so as we are still moving through our program, we have a representative also from the youth creative representative and Ms. Stella Ajay. So I'm asking that our technicians look for her connect so that we can plug her in so that we can also hear from our youth during this occasion. Part of the special programming of PANAFEST provides for a platform for the Youth Day, for our youth to have their own expression. Most often than not, we see a lot of our youth, because of the energy that's involved with them, always say, so what are you doing for the youth? Where are you involving the youth? Why is it that the elders are always there taking charge and squeezing and not allowing for the youth to get involved? So we heard that over a decade ago. So for at least the last 5 to 6 editions of PANAFEST, we've had 2 very special days, one for our youth and one for our women. And PANAFEST has played a consistent role in giving an avenue and giving a platform for our young people as well as for our women. And we see that this Black Lives Matter movement that is taking place globally is largely led by our young people. And this is consistent with our history because we know some 40, 50 years ago with the civil rights movement, it was still our young people who were at the forefront of that. So not only during the PANAFEST program itself do we give space for our youth to express themselves, but we want to make sure they had a voice during this morning. So we want to welcome Stella Ajay to give us a statement representing our youth. So if we can plug her in, we're ready for you, Stella, and once we have you, round of applause. Thank you, we can see you, and welcome. Can you activate your mic? Actually, we're not hearing you. We see you're speaking, but we can't hear you. Can we confirm her voice before she continues?
Rabbi, please,
No,
it's a
that's
gentleman.
right. I'm going to get the main road to turn left.
Sorry, my brother. Can you turn your mic on?
No.
Can you do us a test so we can hear your message? Yes. We can see your image well. We want to hear your message.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we heard that. Can say it again, please. Another test.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much. Can you proceed?
Okay, yes. So I was saying thank you for this invitation. And I just
We just lost your voice again.
oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Thank you. Proceed.
Okay, so like I was saying, I want to use this opportunity to highlight the main theme driving next year's PANAFEST.
We can hear your voice, but it seems there's a clicking sound from where you are transmitting. Can you check to make sure that any other devices are off so we can hear you very clearly? The voice is coming through, but there seems to be a distraction.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Main theme driving next year's PANAFEST is that of racial solidarity through Sankofa and African family ties. And as Nwezu rightly observed, the main gap to be bridged in an attempt to renew African arts tradition is surely one of consciousness, not time, not an abyss, cultural intention, but rather a psychological ravine. The old tradition is alive. In reconstructing the shattered African identity, the difficult process of spiritual healing must ensue to hasten mental liberation. As conscious artists, mental liberation through cultural production must be a primary goal. Black artists must create new forms and new values. In new songs, along with Black authorities, they must create new symbols, myths, and legends. A return to the African source, which Elanatri terms as the Sankofa syndrome, must surely remain the default reaction to a conscious and forcible attempt to denigrate a people's culture and replace it with an extraneous one. The issue of artistic renaissance is one of revitalization of the tradition. Our Western-oriented mind
Amen.
that giving primacy to the African experience, the past and the present, in African artistic endeavors. As artists, curators, and cultural producers, our main task then is to lead a cultural revolution, reignite the African creative spirit, to revive African art consciousness, and to also preserve the artistic legacy of our ancestors. As next year's PANAFEST takes a retrospective glance at the African must be deeply rooted in the indigenous African society, embracing African family ties, social values, communal critique, cultural renaissance, and the reclamation of authentic African experience, seeing ourselves anew, creating new histories, and constantly imagining what it means to be African in contemporary times. Through paintings, sculpture, dance, music, literature, architecture, design, performance, poetry, the new media, creative pedagogy, and powerful spiritual healing practices, we will unapologetically reassess our African identities in next year's PANAFEST celebration. In PANAFEST 2021, we seek to reenact histories of a complex past and envisioning the magnificent future that we want to experience in our lifetimes. We hope to build mental bridges of meta narrative to reconnect our voices, victory, loss, pain, and family ties. African art and aesthetics will serve as a spiritual vehicle to initiate complex process of physiological, psychological, and spiritual healing of a very resilient. African has positioned itself as an indispensable tool for initiating social change, sociocultural awareness, and social cohesion and cultural progress in diverse ways. The social responsibility required of the African artist does not permit him or her to separate creative expressions from politics and social realities. African creative writers and artists whose creative expressions do not reflect the social realities of contemporary Africa shall gradually become irrelevant. The murder of George Floyd led to global anti-racism protests that saw the removal of public statues of racism. Also inspired political action and black power aesthetics. African art has really positioned itself as an indispensable tool for initiating social change, sociocultural awareness in diverse ways. Contemporary street art is steadily being marked by a turn towards education and more social awareness. Artists serve as central figures responsible for initiating social transformation. And I'll end my destroy the culture, you destroy the people. This must not happen. Black artists are culture stabilizers, bringing old values and introducing new ones. Black art will talk to the people, and the will of
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajay. Thank you very, very much. A round of applause. Happy to hear the voice of our youth. Plugging in here. I'm very proud of you, and thank you very much for sharing that which you have shared. As I'm hearing from our technicians, we are also now ready to hear from our representative from UNESCO, Mr. Diallo. We know this is very important as PANAFEST is an international event, and we know that UNESCO has very much been in tune with its own initiatives with the people of African descent, and then graduating this decade of people of African descent, and they have been represented at PANAFEST events and our colloquiums. So they are very much a part of our team, and we're going to have them here today to be with us to make a statement. So, Mr. Diallo, we welcome you, and like our technicians, to tune you in so you can join us. We can hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nathaniel.
We can do that.
Honorable Minister, distinguished.
I think that we have coming up next.
What about the
Forte from from the
Can you hear me?
Vice Chair, as well as our Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. And we're going to be asking that they be in readiness after we hear from our UNESCO representative. Thank you. Here you go. Very much. Welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you, Nathaniel. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Dear friends, Maha, Salam, Bonjour, Buenas tardes. This is a real pleasure for us to be with you on the occasion of the launch of the PANAFEST 2021 on this virtual mode, but we made it, and it is another avenue for us to be always together and to communicate and dialogue. First of all, let me express my thanks and my gratitude to the PANAFEST Foundation and the organizer for having invited us to this ceremony, to this activity. I wish to extend to all of you the greetings of the Director General of UNESCO, Madame Audrey Azoulay, and from all the UNESCO staff here in Ghana. We're very happy to be associated to this initiative. UNESCO, the United Nations Organization for Education, Science, Culture, and Communication, is your organization. So we are here for you, and we have to work with you to feel and give you all the possibility of support. A message of solidarity also. We cannot but express all our solidarity to all our brothers and sisters all around the world, from the diaspora and on the continent, following the recent development. It's an occasion also to express our thanks to all the family, the cultural family, for the resilience they have shown us during this period. UNESCO has recently launched an initiative, Resilient Art, to show how artists, the creative sector, was very resilient, is very resilient during this outbreak. We have been helped by culture. We needed to be helped, to be fed, to be accompanied by culture during our confinement, and we saw how creative people were also at the forefront in the communication, in the preventive communication against the disease. I wish to congratulate the PANAFEST board for the choice of the 2021 edition thematic, securing the African family, our soul, our health, our wealth. It's a very inspiring theme, a very timely one. Indeed, our family, this big one, is very big, and as African Union designed it, the 5 regions of the continent, but of course, the 6th region comprised by all our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Our security, indeed, and at its heart, health, is more than important, as this current outbreak reveals. And our destinies are linked. We cannot get out of this alone, but only together. And we need to use it in the spirit and to act in the spirit of Ubuntu. I am, you are, because you are. PANAFEST is the legitimate, the best platform to discuss and to continue the dialogue on all these thematics. And UNESCO cannot but accompany PANAFEST and has facilitators for all these important thematics. Of course, we will work and use the important programs that the organization elaborated at the request of his member states. These are the general history of Africa, this important program, the slave route program, these are important initiatives that we have to share and use and vulgarize through the platform of PANAFEST. And of course, the Office UNESCO will be together with you in the preparation of the next year initiative and all along the way to accompany you, of course, particularly on the intellectual side for the colloquium and any initiatives. We've just heard the youth. It's important to convene them and to share with them on all these important programs, such as the general history of Africa. But of course, we have also the important convention that UNESCO monitor and which monitor and governs the creative and culture sector, going from the natural and heritage protection to the creative and the intangible heritage. So these are important tools, convention frameworks that we can also revitalize through the discussions of that PANAFEST provide. Of course, the major initiative beyond the return, the decade beyond the return, important. We avail this opportunity to congratulate the government for this initiative. But we know that a lot of emphasis is placed on tourism, but we use again this platform to plead and advocate for the culture component. Culture for our soul, culture feed and develop all the different products that we need for culture. The products, these are the World Heritage Sites that we have here in Ghana, the ones that are listed already, but all the other ones that are on the tentative list, such as the one in North. I'm very happy that Prophecy mentioned that next year all the sites also on the North will be part of the packages of the program. So we'll make sure we'll continue to plead and pursue the conversation with the relevant entities to make sure that all these thematics are really high in the agenda of the initiative beyond the return. So once again, thank you very much for this. Congratulations for this first initiative, for the launch of the 2021 initiative, just to ensure, to reiterate our mobilization, our availability to be with you, to be UNESCO, but not only UNESCO, all the UN family here in Ghana and in the region to help you and support you and participate in the coming and next year celebration. Congratulations, thank you again, and we are together. Thank you. Over to you, Nathan.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very, very warm message from you.
Can you
pledge and support with us as you have been in the past, and we thank you for that pledge to continue to be with us.
Can you mute all of us so that we
On that note, we also want to invite and see if we can connect with our Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Integration, the Honorable Shirley Ayakor Bochwe, and hope that our technicians are able to connect us so we can hear from our regional minister, who is very active in helping to facilitate a lot of protocol for PANAFEST during PANAFEST season, and for allowing for our foreign missions to also be able to facilitate the acquisition of visas and all of the official protocol that goes along with making sure our arrivals are here, as well as communicating with our colleague, African. So certainly she facilitated the launch of PANAFEST 2017 during African Union Day, May 25th. And so we very much welcome her to this PANAFEST launch. Looking forward to so we're asking that the technicians connect her so we can hear our message from our minister.
Good afternoon, Rabbi. Unfortunately, I'm hearing from the foreign minister himself. I'm the deputy. And my name is Charles Reid. I'm the deputy foreign minister.
Thank you very much. I think we have them on screen now. We want to do the voice check.
Rabbi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, so like I said earlier, that I'm the deputy foreign minister, and I'm representing the foreign minister, Honorable Sally, who unfortunately cannot be here, but she's asked me to step in. That's the Rabbi. Let me. Yeah, so the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Honorable Barbara JC, the chair of the PANAFEST Foundation is Manadi, I'm delighted to be part of this virtual launch, featuring the festivities of PANAFEST 2021. Today's launch is unique because it's the first time it's taking I feel like the pandemic. As you are aware, and that was greatly affected 2006, leading to the loss of jobs, revenue, sources of livelihood for many. All these that are necessary, the measures being taken by government to against this backdrop, I welcome the launch of this event. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm particularly excited about the theme for 2021, which is securing the African family, our soul, our health, our wealth. This theme is significant in light of the increasing challenges faced by Africans across the world. We must therefore use this event as a cultural vehicle to help bring together all Africans, both on the continent and in diaspora, to celebrate our uniqueness and restore our self-esteem and worth. It's only in this way that we can chart a new path for our development and prosperity, and as a result, gain the respect and dignity we deserve. In this regard, permit me to reiterate the words of His Excellency the President of the Republic at the maiden edition of the Essence of Global Black Economic Forum in Accra in January this year, and I quote, "It should be obvious to all Black people in the world by now that their dignity and standing are intricately bound up with the dignity and standing of Africa," end of quote. Let me conclude by thanking the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts and the PANAFEST Foundation for the invitation to be part of this virtual launch. I wish to assure all of you that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration stands prepared to facilitate, support, and participate in the festivities. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. We thank you very much, Deputy Minister, on behalf of the Minister. And as always, we certainly thank you for your pledge of support and also for the support that you continue to give to us. So on that note, we once again will give another round of applause for the message from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. At this point, we understand that we do have the connection with Mr. Akwesi Ababio of the Diaspora Affairs at the Office of the President. And we're going to ask for a brief statement from him, but we are getting close to the climax of the launch with our minister and some few comments. So I also ask that Ms. Mata Moreno Vega, the voice of the diaspora from Afro-Puerto Rico Cultural Center in New York City, also makes herself in readiness to speak after Mr. Ababio's connection. So welcome, Mr. Ababio from the Diaspora Affairs, Office of the President. Can our technicians make that connection now? while our technicians are making the connection, I want to also make ready. We have also a presentation that will be given by our very own ambassador to Brazil, Ghana's ambassador to Brazil, also a member of the PANAFEST Board of Directors, Professor Abinabuzia, who will be giving us a poem to break up all of our speeches and messages. So to be on readiness, that will be plugging our Excellency Ambassador Professor Abinabuzia in as soon as we get this connection through.
Hello, everybody, and thank you. I hope everybody can hear me.
Welcome. With a round of applause, we welcome Ambassador Professor Abinabuzia, Ghana's ambassador to Brazil, also a member of the PANAFEST board. Professor, Your Excellency, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, as always, to be here. I've been very proud to be part of the PANAFEST family for the last about 30 years. Sister Stacey asked me to share a poem, as this is a festival of arts and culture. And I decided to share a poem that I wrote about 25 years ago as a result of a visit to the British Library, where I found some documents about our history. And as I'm an educator, I'm very passionate about our attempts and the role PANAFEST plays in helping us to rethink and reclaim our own history. So the poem I'm about to read is one of my own, called A Reply to His Excellency. It is a response to a document I found in the British Museum, in the British Library, entitled Cursory Observations on the African Trade, submitted to the consideration of Parliament by John Roberts, who was governor of Cape Coast Castle in May 1778. John Roberts had been president of the Royal Africa Company back in 1750, at the time that it was disbanded and replaced by the committee. And this particular set of observations is written to Parliament as an indictment against the committee appointed to oversee the African trade, because Roberts did not think he was doing their work well. So I will begin by reading some of Roberts's cursory observations and then my own response. So in 1778, John Roberts wrote to Parliament. He was governor of Cape Coast at the time, I said, to a committee so extremely destitute of all local knowledge of the country, and to their servants, intent solely on the advancement of their own private trade and the quick accumulation of their fortunes, may we impute the scandalous neglect of every public interest and the defenseless situation of the British forts. It is a melancholy truth that the governors of those of Accra and Winneba were exposed, in consequence of their declining power, to a contempt so fearless from the natives that they intercepted them on their road to Cape Coast, abused, beat, and compelled them to advance a ransom for their liberty. With like insolence did they rush into the fort of Comenda and violently assault the person of the governor. When they had maimed him by repeated blows, they stripped him naked and sent him, a wretched object of their derision, to the principal Dutch fortress at Elmina. And then, when not long before the Christmas season, and in the year 1776, the governor of Winneba Fort was preparing to embark for the purpose of assuming the command of the fort at Anamapo, the Negroes seized him in the town, under the guns of the fort, and having almost strangled him, reduced him to the severe necessity of complying with such conditions as they thought proper to impose. The succeeding governor, who apprehended that the punishment of this audacity might check the progress of his trade, with equal fear and meanness, permitted him to pass unnoticed. And this is my reply to His Excellency. Your Excellency, thank you for leaving us your record. They are your words. They reveal so much about you. I cannot make them mine. But though you figure we are your slaves, our past does not belong to you. With so many silences in your history, forgive me, but I have some observations of my own to make and a few questions to ask. Like, you may not know this despite your years here, but we are a peaceable people for whom age and authority are revered and hospitality a sacred act. So, did you ever wonder what made us unafraid to attack two men of authority and unashamed to capture strangers and defenseless travelers on the road? For what like crime were we exacting ransom? The idea makes you melancholy. We call it retribution. You may not have recognized this, but dress for us is a sign of dignity, and adornment a sign of ceremony and status. So, for what like act of public exposure would we violently assault the person of a governor, strip him naked, and send him out in public, the wretched object of derision? Where could we have witnessed and learnt such calumny? You call it insolence. We call it guerrilla warfare. And the governor of Winneba, embarking full-flushed at Yuletide to gain a confident command, recognized the significance of where he was taken? Under the guns of his own fort? A flouting of authority that left him shocked and complying with whatever impositions his captors thought proper. You call it audacity. But for us, those forts invoke a continuing state of siege. Thank you.
Wonderful piece of history there. Proud words. I saw the emotions of everyone there with the expression of the poem and the content thereof. So thank you very much, Your Excellency, Professor Abena Buzia, for that contribution. We also now want to see if we can bring in Mr. Ababio, and then we're going to ask Mata Marina Vega to be on hold and readiness before we bring on our AU Deputy Chair, and then our Minister, in that order. So if we're having a problem with the connection, we will move to Ms. Martha Marina Vega, voice from the diaspora.
Good morning or good
I remember
afternoon.
very well her representation with us in 2017. Brought very good depth to our interfaith dialogue as a African traditionalist living in the diaspora, representing the Caribbean, but having the cultural center in New York. So we are trying to, there you go, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Marta Marina Vega, welcome to the launch of PANAFEST. Very pleased to see you and looking forward to hearing from you. Welcome.
Thank you. Do you hear me?
I can hear you clear, very well.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be part of the launch, and it's an honor to be part of envisioning how we move forward as a global community. I'm based in Puerto Rico, and as you said, I created several institutions in New York City. And I think that at this moment in time, the pandemic has revealed the reality of our communities throughout the globe. And there is a discussion that we have to have as African and African descendants in terms of how we envision our moving forward as a global community and repairing, restoring, creating the systems that we need to move forward. And we have to think strategically and intentionally and bring together the pieces of the puzzle that we represent. Because there is much information that was torn forcibly during the period of enslavement out of Africa and exists in places like Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, Trinidad, Jamaica, Puerto Rico. And we need to know each other in the various manifestations that have happened to us in that process of sustaining community, sustaining knowledge, creating brilliance in the most horrendous conditions known to mankind and humankind and womankind. So that PANAFEST provides an opportunity for us to look at a global history and a global journey and honor it and bring it together in ways that enforces us all as a community, as a global community. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this construction.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're very welcome, and you certainly have enriched this program with us here today with that voice from the diaspora and reminding us that the diaspora is large and that more often than not we tend to forget sections of our community which are very valuable. There is not one community of us that is less valuable than the other. So thank you very much, Doc, for tuning in with us. And we also want to, at this point, move to see whether or not His Excellency, the Deputy Chair of the AU, Kwesi Kwartey, is within our reach to connect so that we can hear from him. And he has been a great supporter of PANAFEST throughout the years and a Pan-Africanist. And we are happy to see where he is in his position as the Deputy Chair of AU. I'm very happy that he was one of the first to respond positively to want to be a part of this launch here today. So we await the connection of His Excellency Kwesi Kwartey, Deputy Chair of the African Union.
It's not ready.
We hear that he is not within our range right now. And so with that being said, we don't know if Mr. Babio is still out of range. As we see here, we have been moving pretty smoothly, but depending on where our guests are, some of the connections are a little more difficult than others. So that is the challenge that we're having here. So we know our minister is just on hold to do the launching, and we wouldn't delay too long before inviting her in but we know that His Excellency Boise Corte was very excited and anxious to be with us today. So we're trying to get that connection in order so that we can hear from him before hearing from the minister and before hearing some other solidarity message from some of our members that are here present with us on site. Still, the connection is not coming in. We had one other voice from the diaspora. I'm not sure if that connection is here either, Kofi Kobe from Barbados. But in any event, we will not delay. We will run the program on smooth, and we are going to actually see if we can call upon our Honorable Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MP, the Honorable Barbara Otang Jassy, if she is in readiness to do our actual launch for PANAFEST 2021. And so if she is ready, we would want to move to that portion. And before we do that, we did have an anthem that we wanted to play in solidarity to the occasion. We will play first what we usually do in our reverential night program. We will sing the African anthem of that it's come up out of South Africa, and then we'll move right here to Mother Ghana before bringing our minister on. So if our technicians can play that as an interlude before bringing our minister on.
Distinguished ladies
He's off. His internet is off. So we are trying to. But you're coming from our head.
Be heard. Yeah, be heard. As we are waiting to be reconnected, we understand that there's a technical difficulty from the end of our CEO from GTA, so we're waiting to link back up. But I've been sitting here all this time at a very distinguished table who have come and gathered to help make this launch successful. I understand the connection is back
Political
to
and social groups ameliorate the scales of this human trade. The dominance still remains. Mr. Chairman, our role as a new generation, like Apostle Paul says in Philippians 3:13, is to pass behind and set forward, creating a better future that will be a haven of freedom, equality, love, and security for the next generation. God's quest is to rise above and beyond the shadows. Is to pass behind, creating a better future, to rise above and beyond of the next day.
It seems that we're having difficulty on your end with the connectivity, so we're going to need for you to.
The beyond the
all right, we got you back.
To further strengthen the bond between our kids and kin in the diaspora. On this note, I wish to declare PANAFEST 2021 duly launched. Long live our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Long live PANAFEST. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Long live Africa. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ajiman. We did have a little difficulty with some of the transmission, but what came through very clear is that you launched us successfully. That came through very clear. So we look forward to having the minister's speech transcribed as well. But thank you again very much. We know that when we do that, the real work begins from there. But we have, now that the launch has taken place, we do have some interaction that is scheduled and some acknowledgments to be made, as well as brief statement. So thank you once again, Mr. Okwesi Ajiman. We also would like to say that we are very sorry that some of those who were scheduled to make a statement, the connectivity was not good enough to bring you in, but we certainly welcome all of those messages that were given to us. They were very rich and helped to enrich our program. So with that having been said, we're going to ask that our own chairperson, Professor S.E. Sutherland Adi, is going to come back on with us. But before that, we did have a brief moment that we're going to interact with the press, and we're going to recognize some of the individuals that are sitting here on this high table that have joined us. So first, a brief interaction with the press, and since we have gone a little over our time, we're going to make that very brief. So any one of our press representatives that are here, we have a press corps that's in Accra that we may not be able to transmit in, we will try. So we're going to take at least 3 questions from the press that is present with us here at the launch venue. So any one of our members of the press represented, please state your name and the press house that you represent. shy. The press is shy with that. I've never seen the press shy before. Or our solidarity statements were so fulfilling. The program lineup for the PANAFEST. Well, what we can give you are the dates, and that is the 23rd of July to the 3rd of August. And because this begins our work and we have participation coming in from various people from different parts of the world who will be working on committees, the detailed program is not filled in yet. We'll be filling that in. We have the call to papers that will go out to those who will be participating in the colloquium. We will have the call going out for those who will be coming as part of our artists that will be part of the multidisciplinary arts world. So there is logistics that has to be done before we will come out with the actual detailed program. What we do know is that we begin in Edina with our Baba ceremony as our chairperson laid out. We know that we'll have the Grand Durbar of Chiefs with the opening ceremony, as well as with the return journey and the reverential night and Emancipation Day. On the PANAFEST years, PANAFEST and Emancipation Day come together. So those are fixed events on fixed dates, but the other meat and detail of the program we have not put together to lay out yet, but it will. So keep active on our website, and we'll be sharing current information on our website.
Yeah. Hello?
So what I'm asking is that what is the assurance? My name is Thomas Khan, and I work with TVD. I want to ask, what is the assurance for next year? We saw during the year of return that quite a number of the activities were held in Accra. What is going to be the plan for next year, especially for the local people here to feel, you know, the activities, the celebration itself? Because we going out there as media people, we start to get a lot of questions from the locals that why is it that Cape Coast and Elmina play a major role in the festival, but when it comes to the activities, about 90% of it was done in Accra. What is going to be the plan for next year?
Well, with the permission of Nana, chair of our local organizing committee, I will take the lead, and I'm sure anyone can follow up if I don't answer that in its fullness. I think that what you've done is mixed up the PANAFEST with the year of return, because PANAFEST activities were focused on Cape Coast and Elmina mainly, and the majority of the activities that took place during PANAFEST and Emancipation Day was in Central Region, mainly, as I said, Cape Coast, with the PANAFEST Village and Elmina included. But the year of return, which was a year-long schedule, they were organized events by private organizers who put in the request to organize their events from the year of return. Anybody that was an event organizer was free to register with the year of return planning committee to ask for an event to be organized. They could have chosen anywhere in Ghana to organize that event. It's the only requirement. Most people chose Accra, but that was not PANAFEST nor Emancipation Day. So we, PANAFEST and Emancipation Day, are always focused on what we can do here in Central Region, because the home of PANAFEST is Cape Coast with Elmina. That's the home of PANAFEST. So our major events are done here in Cape Coast and Elmina. So we don't have any plans of changing that.
Hello, Rabbi.
Rashad McCoy, representing Modern Ghana Media. As far as maybe preparation for coronavirus possibly still going through to 2021, how would you consider doing virtual tours or doing something for people who may not be able to make the travel, not feel safe to travel, or even want to still practice social distancing even a year from now?
Very good question. I hope that our audience, especially Accra, with Mr. Kwesi Ajiman, our chairperson, Professor S.C. Southern Adi, are still listening in, so that if need be, they want to plug in to help join in answering some of these questions, they are free to do so. But I would like to say that we all know that this coronavirus is with us, and we are all learning how to live with it as much as we want it to pass. So we are all exercising any planning that we're doing with the inevitability that it might not totally disappear by that time. So we are practicing social distancing, we're practicing mask wearing, we're practicing virtual everything. So whether it's virtual tours like we're doing this virtual launch, we will be exercising the full extent of our creativity and imagination to be able to carry through and to carry on in spite of what Corona does. We cannot ignore it. We have to deal with it, and we will deal with it with a sense of responsibility, public safety, accountability, and transparency. But we feel that in the greatest expectation that we will be blessed by the Almighty of having a better handle on it, that we cannot wait just to see what Corona does. We must be proactive. And that's why we are projecting that 2021, we will have a better chance of still moving forward with a successful festival and employing all the means necessary to deal with any inevitability. Identify yourself and your press house.
Yeah, my name is Afedi Abdullah. I work with the Ghana News Agency, GNA. My observation over the period of witnessing PANAFEST has been the lack of or limited participation from the local people, I mean, in the central region. So I've been thinking, how do we get the local people to fully participate in this all-important festival so that we all get the much needed benefits and then the attention of it, because I believe that we are not only targeting the people from diaspora, because the success of this whole festival to the larger extent will also depend on how the local people buy into the idea and fully participate in it. So I don't know, I believe and I'm thinking that we can, in terms of awareness creation and all of that, how we can get the local people to also fully participate in this. I think that's also very important.
Yes, it is very important. I'm glad you started off with saying you were thinking, because that's what we need, everybody to be thinking, to help suggest and submit ideas on how we can better improve upon our own efforts of including the local community. We have a lot more participation than people actually give us credit for, because never has there been a PANAFEST where people from the outside outnumber the people from within Ghana as participants. But we always need room for improvement. Last year, we were fortunate enough to have Kama, who did a magnificent job on the ground here in Cape Coast of sensitizing our local community, and they generated a lot more support than we've had in the previous years. And we want to continue with that partnership and continue with all efforts that we can think of, but we welcome ideas from those of you who have been observing all of these years. And I'm sure in your observation, you come up with ideas that we welcome you to present to us so we can employ them and put them to work for us. This is not something that belongs to a few of us. It's something that belongs to all of us. And PANAFEST only reflects our condition as a people, as a larger African family, and our need to be able to communicate and get our grassroots people involved with the things that are important to us as African people. So with this new enthusiasm that's come about in a very negative way, in terms of with the murder of a black man in America, George Floyd, on no other day than African Union Day, African Liberation Day, May 25th, and to see the kind of mobilization that has taken place because of this tragedy, you would think that our people will stay motivated to get involved with affairs that are of importance to African people. So that means the grassroots, must feel that the programs that we design also caters to them. So as I said, in the program content, we hope that it is something that will attract our local populations to be more involved. And any ideas that you have, we welcome that. So this is PANAFEST is not just an event, it's also a movement. So I think that was 3. And unless there was someone that was plugging in from the outside that our technicians are picking up, I think we've exhausted that here. But again, as I said, we do have our chairperson whom we need to bring back on because she's going to do some acknowledgments. And I want to also, once again, introduce properly those who are with me here who have helped to facilitate this. As we've had people zero in from all over the world, we also want to be able to say who is here to help bring the ambiance and the atmosphere and presence that is needed for an event like PANAFEST. So starting once again to my far right, we are very happy that we've had with us Mr. Bless Darkay, who is representing the Central Regional Minister, Mr. Kwamina Duncan, Honorable Kwamina Duncan. We thank you for your presence here, and he's to my far right. And then, yes, and then also along with us, we have our own Protehima of Ogwa Traditional Area, but member of the PANAFEST board and chairperson of the Women's Day for PANAFEST, Nana Amba Ayeba. And then, of course, we all know our chair here today and also chairperson of the local organizing committee for the PANAFEST Foundation, none other than Osabaremba Kwesi Arthur II, Oman Hen of Ogwa Traditional Area. And then to my immediate left, whom we haven't heard from today, but who has blessed us with his presence, someone is very popular, well known and respected in our midst today, none other than Nana Kobana Nketsia V, Oman Hen of Esikado Traditional Area, and also a member of the PANAFEST board. We also have here with us Mr. Kwame Jassy, who is our Central Regional Director of the Ghana Tourism Authority. We also have here with us our host, the one who has also allowed us to be in this wonderful and beautiful venue. Here today has assisted us tremendously with our 2019 PANAFEST success, and is here with us again, Mr. Kojo Mampi, who is also the person that is directing behind the Green City, Cape Coast Green City project. I'd like to also welcome him and acknowledge his presence. Our chairperson again will do some acknowledgments, and we will also have a word from our brother as well. So I want our chairperson, if the technicians can tune. All right. So in that respect, we are doing the acknowledgments. I'd like to thank once again the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, all of those at the Ghana Tourism Authority. We also, all of those who tuned in with us here today and have played a major part with us here today, we give them thanks. Mr. Diallo from UNESCO, Her Excellency Abinabuzia, Ambassador to Brazil. We also recognize all of those who shared words with us here today. Dr. Martha Marino Vega. We had also speaking with us today. It's always difficult when you start singling people out and those whom you may leave out. But again, I say to all of those who made a major contribution to the success of today's program, we want to just acknowledge you and say that without you, we could have not been successful in moving forward with this program and do a successful launch. I want to ask that We have one of those who are with us here today, Mr. Kojo Mumphy. You opened up this place for us. We're at the the President, Professor Arthur Mills Library, Presidential Library today. Very comfortable atmosphere, and you've been here during this session and invited us here today. We take a brief statement from you as well. You're our host here today, so it's only proper that we hear something from you and say, and at the same voice saying thank you for opening up your doors to us. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for partnering us. So we'll give you a round of applause as well, and I'll thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi, and distinguished guests, and all those present here. I thank you for the opportunity to share just a few words with you and those online. I'd like to acknowledge two of our consulting partners, Develop Group Limited of UK and BCI Australia. They're online now. And I also like to just mention that we had the opportunity of launching the Cape Coast Green City last year. That's a multi-billion-dollar green city project. It's a city project that adopts smart city technology, and it's eco-friendly. Why would we hook in to PANAFEST? 2020, if you understand, as students of prophecy, if you understand the redemptive gift of Ghana and Africa, this is the time for Africa, Ghana and Africa. And you know, the God we serve is a God of times and seasons. And the window of opening that we have now is for us to take advantage of. Now, why we decided to go into the diaspora village, which we have been discussing with you, is because we wanted to do a generational move to be relevant to the times and the seasons, and also to be responsive to that which God wants to do. For the diaspora village, we are doing an initial rollout of about 1,000 units, which we expect to commence this year before the end of the year. I'm repeating this year because God is a time of season, like I mentioned. We cannot wait till next year. Now, if you go to the scriptures in Isaiah 60, from verse 1 to 16, and Isaiah 19, 23 to 25, this is the time that prophecy is going to unfold in Ghana and in the continent of Africa. If